Alright guys, I want to show you here a little chat GPT and Bard AI teamed up on me and they decided to gaslight me. So basically have this problem where have some lambdas in a CDK repo and we want to deploy these lambdas to AWS, but some of the lambdas reuse kind of similar code. So and AWS offers Lambda layers as one solution to this, but I was wondering if there's a solution to just pre-package the Lambdas with the necessary code and then just store that code locally in the repo and not use any layers. And so I asked that to GPT-4 and I gave it all the information it needed. I said I want to have local shared libraries, mostly with util functions. And I told it that each Lambda is stored in a /resources, and then this little Python line here makes sure that all the packages are installed, and then the stacks themselves, in the stack itself, in order to use a Lambda, you just use this code.fromAsset, and it's the directory that you want to use, and excluding the test files, right? And so ChatGPT goes ahead and it says, to achieve shared libraries for your Lambda, consider following these steps. And basically it tells you to set up in your resources, add a shared directory, and then you can have a utils.js file, and the different lambdas can use this file. And then
within the lambda you would just import it like this, and you can see these require /shared/utils.js. That means we're going up a directory in the structure. So for example, lambda 1, we'd be going up a directory into the resources directory and then going into the shared directory, grabbing the utils.js file. So I mean, this all makes sense, right? And it makes total sense why this would run locally. But of course the only question is whether this would actually work in AWS or not. And it says that require pulls in the file at the given path, and then deployment, it says when deploying with CDK, you're using lambda.code from asset to bundle each lambda's function code. The shared library is implicitly included because it's required, and so on. And it's essential that you don't exclude the shared folder, but I'm not doing that anywhere, right? And then it adds some considerations, which is pretty thoughtful. But anyways, I also asked whether this would be including the entire file or just the sum util function, and then it let me know that basically the way JavaScript works is it's going to bundle the entire file even if you're only using one function from that file. And then I asked it, can we just split it into files, and it's like, yeah. And basically, after getting this response from ChatGPT and being pretty excited that this is so easy to set up, went ahead and set this up, deployed to CDK, but I had a suspicion that it wasn't going to be that easy, because if it was that easy, we probably would have already set this up, and it turned out to not be that easy. So in AWS, the shared folder just didn't get deployed. There was no issue during the deployment, but then when the Lambda is tested, it obviously doesn't run. It just crashes on the require statement because it can't find this shared module. And so I double check and I ask, are you sure that this will work and deploy correctly? And ChatGPT basically just gaslights me, and it said, yes, the require statement should work. The relative path is correct, blah, blah, blah. And then it just asks, says, okay, make sure to test this, whatever. But it says, yes, lambda.code.fromAsset, which is the CDK method to deploy these, to package these lambdas and then deploy them. It says, will include not just the directory you pointed to, but also any local files or directories that are required by your code. And so it's basically just straight up lying at this point, because this lambda.code from asset does not work that way. So it everything that's actually in a package.json file, that will get packaged in. But if you're just doing a require statement like this, that is not going to be included. And so I was curious, and I decided to see if ChatGPT would would be any better. If Bard would be any better than ChatGPT. So I went ahead to Bard and I asked, is this true? And all I did was I just copied the last ChatGPT response, just the first part. I just copied this and I gave it to Bard and I said, is this true? Which, seems like it should be a question with no connotation, because I'm just asking whether this is true or not. Now, the interesting thing is that Bard just says, yes, that is correct, la la la. Basically, just gaslights me without knowing at all that it's just completely wrong. And now, to continue my experiment, I decided to tell Bard, okay, instead of asking Bard if it's true, I'm saying, okay, tell me why this is false. And this just shows that Bard does not have any self-awareness at all, because it immediately proceeds to state that this statement is false because the required statement in Lambda the functions only works for files that are included in the deployment package. The CDK will not automatically bundle the shared directory with your Lambda deployment package unless you explicitly specify it to do so. And it is basically saying that what you need to do is you need to, I guess it says include dependencies equals true. And yeah, so I didn't test this. I'm not sure if it's right or not, but basically the idea is, most of my prompt right here, literally, this is probably 95% of the words that I wrote are exactly the same between these two prompts. I only changed these words, is this true, and tell me why this is false. And the answers that I got completely changed. And I think that's just very interesting to me, because clearly it shows that these are at all not, the models are not weighing, they're not treating all the stuff in your prompt as the same. So clearly, for some reason, Bard is able to understand that this first sentence here and this first sentence here is more important than the rest of the prompt, and so it gives me completely different answers based on that first sentence. I've yet to try whether this here is actually true, or if Bard just continued to make stuff up to keep up the gaslighting. But one more thing that I want to show is that I went ahead and asked, is this ChatGPT-4 response to my question true or false? And I wanted to say ChatGPT-4 here, and I also wanted to be completely unbiased in my prompt. And basically, it just said, yeah, it's true. And so the funny thing to me is, this kind of seems like, at least Bard is falling a little bit into confirmation bias, where I'm telling it that ChatGPT-4 said this, and it basically just says, yeah, this is completely true. And I think this actually is something a little bit scary about this, because basically the AI model is just teamed up in these two chats to gaslight me, right? And if I didn't know any better, and if I didn't test this statement, or maybe if I had a prompt that was actually very difficult to test, I could have just been gaslit, into doing completely the wrong thing. And then, both these models basically gaslit me towards the same thing. So yeah, that's just the type of stuff that you find out just by working with these models every day, and I think it's kind of interesting, and lots of different takeaways. But yeah, that's it for the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.